Hey everyone, my name is Larissa and I am a 33-year-old working mom from Montgomery, Texas, and I am here today to tell you a little bit about how I became a Beachbody Coach and why I became a Beachbody Coach. When people ask me this, I frequently tell them that God brought me to fitness on my knees, and I mean that in a very literal sense. Thanksgiving of 2013, I ended up in the hospital with a collapsed lung, and this happened because I got staph pneumonia. I had been diagnosed with pneumonia the previous week. What they didn't know was that it was actually a staph infection in my lungs. Now, if you don't know anything about staph, staph is very resistant to antibiotics, so the antibiotics they put me on did not work. So they have to actually grow a culture to figure out which antibiotics staph will react to. So it took a week for them to grow the culture and figure out which antibiotics that it would work on. And in the process, they used 19 different kinds of antibiotics to try to kill the staph. And in this week-long process, the staph pneumonia continued to spread across my lungs and ended up covering 80% of my lungs and making my left lung collapse. So this was a very scary time for me and really made me think about my family history of medical problems. I come from a long line of overweight, disease-prone individuals. We've got everything from type 2 diabetic, various kinds of cancer, heart disease. My mom currently has beat cancer once. She's got fibromyalgia, she's type 2 diabetic, and she rides around in one of the little scooters everywhere and parks in a handicap spot. So for me to be 32 and not even have the strength to walk from my hospital bed to the hospital room door was very scary, and it was, in all honesty, it was a wake-up call. And so whenever I got out of the hospital, after I regained my strength, I got with my hairdresser who had told me about Shakeology and how wonderful it was and how it could rebuild my immune system, which I definitely needed after the 19 different kinds of antibiotics. She got me with a challenge pack and put me in a challenge group, and I started on T25, which was very hard with not having any lung function. That was definitely a challenge, but I started it and I could only do 5 minutes on the first day, and I went up from 5 to 7 to 9. And I remember starting and being in my living room and my kids being in the background and pointing at me and laughing and going, "Oh my God, look at my mom's fat, it's hanging down." And that, I think, was the most devastating day of my life. And I've had some pretty rough days of my life. But that day was the day that it brought back all the memories of the times I've been rejected. My mom rejected us all the time for different men. My dad, I definitely wasn't his favorite. The kids in school held me down and connected all the freckles in my face. And then now my kids are rejecting me because I'm fat. It was on that day that I made the decision that I was never going back to being fat. They were gonna see their mom as somebody that they wanted to take to school, that they weren't gonna be embarrassed of. I was gonna do whatever it took to make my kids love me and be proud of me. So I engaged in that challenge group and I dug in. And in that group, I met some amazing people. And I noticed that one girl kind of checked out, and I messaged her. And when I did, she said it just wasn't for her. Nobody in there kind of related to her. And so we started talking, and we noticed that she was going through a divorce, and she had 2 kids, and she worked a lot. And so I started trying to help her with her schedule, and I started trying to help her, what to do with the kids, and as far as laying chairs down at the end of the couch when she worked out, and just practical things. And in a couple months' time, she asked me if I could be your coach, and I was like, I don't really coach. And she was like, well, you need to. And I was like, why? And she was like, because you changed my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Somebody like me that had been rejected all her life could change her life. And that's why I'm a coach, because if I could change somebody's life. And I thought about it, and now I'm so grateful to her for telling me that, because I have been able to help other people do the same. And if she would have never told me that, then I wouldn't be a coach. So since starting Beachbody, I've lost 50 pounds. I've rebuilt my immune system. I've discovered who I am through the struggles and triumphs of life, even the hard ones, the very hard ones. I no longer question God's plan in my life. I know He's going to put me where He wants me when I need to be there. I've been able to let go of past pain and regrets and help several other people do the same. I've been able to stop sabotaging my relationships, and I've made a commitment to marry my best friend and my soulmate, and we're getting married on May 6th of 16. This journey has granted me the opportunity to bring hope back into people's lives that had completely lost it, and for that I am forever grateful and humbled, because I had lost that same hope, and that's why I'm a coach.